Wow, no, I don't think I will. I mean, you took what I said and turned it into something else, pretty much proving what Brony said about you twisting stuff. I don't care how you think it feels, just because it's a point of view that doesn't include Brony being as whiny as you want him to be portrayed, as I'm only going off what proof I have. I saw Josh's video, then I saw yours. You cherry-picked and missed the point in various instances, or just plain up lied about certain issues. What Brony said echoed of what I've seen of you. That and the general tone that you're talking to me, and the others is condescending. What would I want to talk with someone who's constantly looking down at me? Look, maybe Brony can seem whiny at times. I don't know. But the fact that you did twist my words around and went with how my words feel instead of what they actually are leads me to believe that maybe you're exaggerating some things. As I'm concerned, Brony might be as whiny as you think. I'm taking both sides of the issue into account. I was originally thinking that you were completely right. However, Brony came in with what he said, which mirrors what I've already witnessed of you. And there are times that he can be whiny, probably. However, I think at times you either exaggerate and take things the very wrong way, like what you did with me. I'll concede that I don't know the full story, but from what I've seen in the past video of yours, what I've seen of the stuff that you've talked about and what Brony said, mirroring what I've observed, I can safely say that there is some fault with you. Maybe not all of the fault, but a good portion of it, and I'll concede that what I said earlier sounded a bit too, final. Not that this isn't me being a fanboy, just what I've already observed from both sides. That's how it should be taken.
And I fucking got hot, right? I go over, guys are following me, people are following me, right? I walk right out into people and straight up to the post office, or to the post office. And I opened that door. I said, you motherfucker. I said, you fucking idiot. I said, you called me in my fucking house. You asked me to come here. I didn't ask you. You asked me to come here. You offer me this money. You make a deal with my business partner to fucking run commercials, which I fucking produce for you. I booked my best friends here on this fucking show for you. And now you're going to give me a goddamn check from your fucking mother, which may or may not be good. And you're going to deduct the goddamn cost of the fucking hotel that I'm staying in because I came up here because you asked me to? Fuck you. If this check is not good on Monday morning, I will find you. I will rape your girlfriend, I will fucking kick your dog, and I will burn your fucking house down. And your mother and father better fucking turn you over their goddamn knee and whack the fucking shit out of you for being a stupid dumb fuck. Then, because I was starting to get upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I have some light lifting, I tend to hand off my little problems to Pastel Prose. You can think of her channel as How Not to Brony Draft, for that full-bodied drama. Be happy, Corpulent. This is the first and last time in your life where you will be told that you are light lifting. Toodles!
So this video popped up in my related section like YouTube actually knows what the fuck I like to watch, when obviously they don't, because this video appeared. I thought it'd be interesting. The title card kind of fucking tricked me really good, as well as the name, because I'm thinking, oh, this nigga has something negative to say about How Not to Brony. Let's see his input. Let's see his insight. I've only met him like twice, and for the first 5 minutes of this 40-something minute video, he proceeded to bitch about the name and talk all shit about the name. The fact that after 5 minutes you had nothing else to say but making fun of the name proves that you had nothing to say on the fucking matter in the first place. I literally felt like I was watching something made by either Mad Plushie, Sweetie Bloom, or Keyblade, where it's just you guys droning on literally about nothing. I still don't understand why you think this would be the video that you would need to debut on your YouTube channel to show that you actually have some sort of a voice on anything of the matter that has to do with How Not to Brony. Like, you literally fucking tricked me. I feel robbed. I feel robbed of 5 minutes and 30 seconds of my life. I was on lunch at the time that this had happened at work, and we only had half-an-hour lunches that day due to high call volumes at the call center, and I found it fucking utterly hilarious how I had people walking in to the break room to hear the voice that was coming out of my phone speaker, which was yours, mind you, and immediately contracting AIDS and cancer of all various degrees and sorts. So in all honesty, I had to turn that off for fear that I was going to get reported to HR for just playing your video. Like, that shit was that fucking bad and cancerous. I don't understand how you can fuck up so badly. And so much so to where even YouTube compares you to Mad Plushie. He is in your related Like, this is this is all that YouTube thinks you amount to. It may be an automated system, but the fact that even they compare him to you, oh my god, you can tell how far you've really come as a
asshole
person. So if I were you, what I would do is, you and the entire PFC need to do this for me. I know you guys all have them, so go ahead and grab your tits and comb them for me, okay? And then what I need you guys to do, I know this is going to be very hard, but if you step outside, I know the sunlight's going to burn. I know you guys are all white as fucking crackers. So if you go outside and, you know, once your skin gets used to the harsh sunlight, like I know it will, go out there. I need you guys to get some papers from these places. They're called applications. I need you to fill them out and then return them back to the manager. Then proceed to get a job within 2 to 4 weeks after your drug tests and stuff. I know none of you guys are doing drugs. You can't afford them. So do me a favor. Go get a job. Then I need you to proceed to try to hit on some girl who lives about in your range. So don't be a dime hitting on a quarter or a dollar. I need you to be a dime hitting on a nickel or a penny or less than that. Because in all honesty, you guys need a girlfriend as well. So then once we do that, step 3 is the biggest step of all. Actually do something with your life. I know being outside is scary. I know the wind just blows through you like a sheet of paper. But I do assure you that even though your bones will rattle when you start to walk outside, even though your skin will turn a darker color due to the sun, getting out there will keep you off of YouTube, which will keep the rest of us from contracting AIDS and cancer. Have a nice day.
This is FNGR, and if we're here, you fucked up, or my overly opinionated ass has something to add to the conversation, we'd like to thank Event Horizon, one of the Denzians of Limbo, back on how, not to Brony, but whatever this video is. Love this video, link in the description, but this is more of a mere plug. By the way, for the shout out, I do think you'll be bigger than me one day, provided you stay motivated.
Now, since I've met FNGR, I've been added to his Skype group called Limbo, which I can safely call a home away from home, which is bad, because oftentimes I'll have no idea how to participate because I'm missing so much context.
Not belonging is exactly why you belong in Limbo. Welcome to the land of misbegotten toys. We keep 2 kinds of people here, really useful people and really fun people. Now keep in mind, while we're watching the election, you talked about wanting to see Trump win. No one thought about kicking you out. That's charisma, and that, my friend, is talent. Anyone who can go into such a den of butthurt fans, myself included, and get away with pulling that shit is someone I'd rather not get rid of.
Decided to stand my ground, suck it up, and wait for the perfect opportunity to overthrow reason and claim Limbo for myself, which, by the way, I'm sure under the right conditions, he'd have no problem with.
As a fellow shitlord, no. On a personal level, oh baby, Daddy's not giving up his army that easy. We're like every other subsection of the fandom, except we do stuff.
Did in an awesome thumbnail and got into a fist fight with Anthony C at the same time, and discussed 2 other times in his videos and a few mentions here and there. As I make it pretty clear, I've never had anyone who's ever done anything like that for me, so I'll give him a little reference here and there to make it worth his while since he watches all of my videos.
And that's the problem. Here, let me let you in on a little secret. Finding people like Event Horizon with talent and promise isn't hard. I could cite KP's channel, or other examples I'd like to use is the old group I used to belong to, the Pony Fuckcast. There were people equal to or greater than Event's potential, Rockamoo and Briss. If either of you guys are watching this, you could have easily have been a success. There's this overwhelming 4chan, whatever man, stoner mentality that seems to permeate fans. It's what turned past analysis into a stone cold loser and will one day take Geeky Steven. So my self-appointed, self-important job is to find as many you guys, like you, Event Horizon, keep you motivated so that you can create, and those creations can inspire, and that inspiration will feed back into the fandom, giving bigger and greater creations so that the fandom doesn't get overrun by Doug Walker clones. Now, I'm gonna avoid the Tyendega thing for a moment. I'm gonna give you a lot of rope, try not to hang yourself with it.
I want to pass that blame on to a certain drowning in horseshoes. Jesse was the first Brony to teach me that calling out the fandom on BS in unconventional ways was okay. Now, I started watching him when he first came out a few years ago, so I definitely wasn't as wise as I am now, so it was a much needed lesson. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not playing monkey see, monkey do, because that would just make me an actual hypocrite.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this. My first enjoyable experience with the Horseshoe Man, Jesse Wood, and Endless Jess, wow, the devil has so many names, was on the Horsecast, which when I first saw it was some weird guy hanging out with Digi. And this is part of a 2-part surprise. One is a bit more obvious, and the other might get me in a lot more trouble. The first part being is that Jesse plays a character in all of his videos, a heel. That's a bad guy, to all you non-pro wrestling marks. Drowning in Horseshoes is about as real as cartoons or Dr. Wolf. You don't have to go any further than the content itself, where Jesse spells out as much.
I'm not one of you, damn it. I'm normal. I'm a suave, handsome guy. I am not some run-of-the-mill, trench coat-wearing, autistic brony faggot!
That's the first half of the blue pill. Most people who are fans of the man already know that. At least the reasonable ones. The whole, it's an act is something Mr. Wood uses as a cure-all, regretfully. Now, to be fair, a lot of comedy acts behind the bullshit like to have something deep and meaningful every once in a while. Comedians want to feel like they taught you something or encouraged you to think. It's what justifies calling the medium an art form. Art, however, is open to critique. Now, juggling humor, entertainment, the lesson, and keeping everyone happy is a maddening experience. Just look at Lily Peet. She's lost her goddamn mind trying to juggle it all. My perspective mirrors Shelley D's to a point. The first half of that point is, everything is flawed. And it is. Where we differ is, his standpoint is, because everything is flawed, you should tear it all down and not even try. It's a very 4chan horse news perspective. It doesn't create anything, it doesn't inspire. And the entertainment is fleeting because all it ever does is destroy. He's like a Warhammer 40k orc. Rape and kill until one day you keel over and die and release spores. That will create more of you and do the same. My perspective, in spite of everything being flawed, is you pick a path, and in spite of those flaws, you do your best to make that path as great as you can. That is how you define who you are. Now, event, that's a scary thought to 4chaners like Sheldon and horse news and the nihilists of the world. Being judged for what you do, it's why they don't like doing anything. I love it. I'm a son of a bitch and a fan of the community. That is the real FNGR. And everyone wants to teach you something deep down inside, whether they admit it or not. Significantly less want to have a discussion about it. Now, event, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday, when you make it big enough, you're gonna have some twat, kinda like Chili's from Horse News, who'll be sitting in the front row asking, well, why do you think you're important? I'm from Havana, Cuba. Capitalism sucks. And when they say that, you have to be ready to say, 1, I create and you don't. 2, be prepared to go back to work after talking to dullards like that. I know so many shitlords that fall apart to the faintest of breezes. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I hope you graduate over Tyandaga's level of opposition by that time so you're ready. Now, I'm gonna limit the time I talk about KP here. Believe me, guys, this could be a full episode about her. Wait, we already did that.
I didn't call that you're pretty infuriated that people think you do nothing, to which I was anticipating some new information we as a community might have missed when all the drama was still hot. You disappointed me. While still holding up to the standard everyone set for you, you proceeded to tell me that you write the scripts to your videos and record them with your voice, as if that was some damning evidence against what everyone was saying. Yeah, you write your own scripts to record. So do I, and the majority of other people who do this line of work on YouTube. If you want to meddle that you're not Josh Scorcher level of lazy, don't hold your breath. Not to mention, I'm pretty sure Josh hands his scripts to someone else for editing purposes, and not because he's lazy. You see these vectors of event horizon that I use? Guess who I paid to make them? No one. I did them myself. Sure, they're far from perfect, but I can say that if they suck, it's because of me and no one else. I have a 15-year background in classical piano, and a 3-year background in electronic music production, and my videos are more impressive than yours. You don't get applauded for doing the bare minimum when there are people like me around, and I can't believe I'm even saying that. If you want further proof, everyone in Limbo does their own editing, script writing, and recording too, which is still more work than you do. If you still need more proof, I'd recommend you popping into the Rift sometime.
Alright, let me stop you right there, Mr. Man. This is Secret Dreamer. She runs the Secret Rift. We have a process to screen out people who do the bare minimal, by which they are interviewed by the modding staff, those being Tricky Fox, Secret Dreamer, Kichi FIM, myself, British Ninja, and Spirited Rainbow. Now, if all you're telling me all KP does is write and read her scripts, my personal vote would be no. Secret Dreamer's vote would be hell no, in all likelihood. British Ninja has expressed an abundance of disdain for KP's lack of effort in many King of Limbos. But that boy waffles harder than a house of pancakes. My point is, it would be highly unlikely 1, that KP would get in. 2, that with as little as she does, she would stay in. For example, this is Robin0928. On a promise to show marked improvement, he made a good impression on the staff, and we granted him access. And despite it being a top 3 first impression with the modding staff, the call for marked improvement has not been forgotten. So, we're going to be revisiting that issue of downloading Sony Vegas, and we'll be glad to screen share and walk you step by step through that whole thing. And that excuse of the last time I tried to download it, it blew up my computer, the dog ate my homework excuse, is not going to carry you on forever. We let Robin0928, despite being somewhat lazy, let's be honest, entirely lazy, without a little goading and prodding of, you don't want to be KP, do you? God be willing, he'll probably learn. KP's one gift is bringing people together, basically what Dr. Wolf has. My main area of clarification and biggest issue with your video event is the notion that KP would be allowed in the secret rift. I would like to drive that point home. Robin0928 barely gets into the room with the promise of vast improvement. Letting a hungry wolf like KP in a room filled with content creators like the Rift to voraciously pick over and exploit who and how she chooses? How can I politely answer this? Out of my dead cold hands. Perhaps I'm not being clear enough. I would rather hang out on Lily Peet's Tumblr. I would rather let Corpulent Brony into an abortion clinic with his AR-15. I know I feel comfortable with Tubby Wumpkins here, the undead zombie baby fetuses. I would rather listen to Sheldon bang on his drums and try to make them musics. I would rather have Brony give me hair grooming tips. I would rather have Kichi give me hair grooming tips. I would rather wait for British Brony here to give me some fucking examples in his videos. I would rather have Faith Moliminous do one of his sloppy CinemaSins parodies of one of his videos and have the audio unmuted while I watch. I would rather watch Manga Common talk about game theory. I would rather talk to Jay Moore, Keyblade, or anyone else who uses suicide as a means to win an argument. I would rather be black and watch a Tommy Taco video than let KP's odious, lazy, dumpy, do-nothing ass within 15 feet of the secret rift, or however far away they keep people from How to Catch a Predator away from children. As for this...
saying, yeah, you write your own scripts to record. So do I, and the majority of other people who do this line of work on YouTube. If you want to meddle that you're not Josh Scorcher level of lazy, don't hold your breath.
That's my punching bag, sport, you got that?
Don't get applauded for doing the bare minimum when there are people like me around.
No, getting appalled by the bare minimum is already copyrighted by Dr. Wolf.
However, Reason has offered for you to come onto Limbo for a podcast to get your side, one of which he would certainly want me along, and I would gladly join. If you're worried about additional drama from that, I'll assure you that a lot of us got together with Anthony C., all of which we disagreed on his stance for his KP Leaks video, but yet still had a great time. Then again, you don't have the charisma that he does, so all I can promise you is that we'll try our best.
That offer, on the other hand, is open, and I would beg to differ. Rachael was already on the Pony Fuckcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pony Fuckcast, the podcast where 6 friends get together with... He's probably the biggest cunt you'll ever have the pleasure of meeting. Anthony Aguilar.
Rambles.
Fantastic. Agent, you want to bring up our first topic tonight?
Yeah, well, KP, with how big your following is and stuff like that, it's obvious that you probably get a bit of internet hate. You get comments that don't agree with your views and stuff like that. How do you actually deal with the hate comments, if you get any, and stuff like that? I mean, how does everybody here, if they get something on their topics, how do they deal with it? How do you deal with it?
What a positive way to start off the interview. But
well, it's
the same one Jesse Wood and Digibro refused to go on for any amount of money in the world. KP went on for free. She'd be just fine on Limbo. So, let me set the stage. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. I'm at work. I just finished watching Guru Larry's Fact Hunt. Tired, but in a good mood. Downloaded 3 a.m. Rambles, or whatever it's called. My mood is now taking a dip. Like, I'm just not in the mood to tussle, but fuck it, I'm bored.
Misanthropony here. I think he can be very insightful, and I do respect that he gives a shit. He has a passion for his work that I haven't really seen among anybody else, and it's why I gave him a spotlight on good stuff. He has that drive to do better and be better that a lot of analysts say they have, but unlike a lot of analysts, he actually makes good on that and proceeds to do better.
Okay, I could totally get distracted and debate this. Breaking down the nuances of Misanthropony's analysis is another story for another time. Focusing on that would be like focusing on pumpkin pie with Thanksgiving dinner. Surely you'll get something out of it, but you're really throwing away a lot to get there. If all this video did was revisit putting Misanthropony over, we could put a chick in the wing column and know that good stuff wasn't just some throwaway thought, that there was legitimacy behind it.
Most of it is so far in the past that it's not really worth talking about, but most of you are aware that I've taken part in my fair share of community slap fights. I have an entire series that talks about how fandoms behave like idiots a lot of the time and how we can learn from those events and make better discourse in the future. I like talking about TV shows. I especially like talking about themes. So I've accepted that arguments are going to happen, often heated arguments. To me, that's not drama. That's just the reality of interacting with people. People argue with their own family. They're definitely going to argue with people on the internet for whom the only thing they have in common is they both like cartoons. But I've never really seen drama be such a massive talking point itself in any other community as I've seen it in the Brony community.
Where's this human being been? Like in my wildest dreams, if I was watching a Lily Peet video and this came on, in my furthest imagination, my body would force itself to wake up. Impossible. My mind would reject the notion that such a reasonable, well-thought-out critique would or could be levied. Sincerity comes with recognizing fault. The moment you hear any side say, "I've done nothing wrong" as a default answer, you really have to put that source under a lens. That is, if you were even going to keep bothering to listen at that point. It was a very human, profound, and real statement. Now, some of you will say, "You can't be so stupid as to believe any of that, can you?" 1, I have amazing suspension of disbelief. 2, if you don't believe the sources, surely it's at least worth hearing and weighing whatever comes next. I kind of felt like this was a mixed match of Dr. Wolf meets FNGR instead of having a second person to hold the idiot ball, i.e. a moment with Dr. Wolf. The lesson here comes off, as all good lessons come off, from learning from one's mistakes. Do you have any idea why this hurts so fucking bad? I'm gonna be the only person who's gonna listen to this and take away anything from it. The mere fact this was on 3 Rambles is a sin. Could you imagine if this message came out before Guardbreaker? There might have been an actual discussion going on right now. Dear Lily, you need to reshoot this audio and put it into a well-polished video, and put that video as a channel trailer. It's not that I agree with this by 110%. It's the presentation of ideas that just aren't found anywhere else. And sadly, the only people who watch 3 AM Rambles are the hardcore fans. If you doubt whether any of this is legit or not, you're missing the point entirely. If it was legit, obviously, where have all these thoughts been? If this was just a show, for the love of God, can we get more?
Brony community. People take it so hard. Every time a fight breaks out, there's so many think pieces of where we go as a fandom. But let me ask you something. We've all seen fandoms that seem like they're at each other's throats, right? How many fandoms have you seen implode because of that? Not a lot, right? Brony fandom has always had an issue of unwarranted self-importance. I think that's a direct result of the media circus that was made of the fandom in the first place. But it's always surprised me how after 6 or 7 years now, we're still on this kick of believing that bronies are different.
If you're still on board, I want to play a clip here from ANY Pony.
Exceptionalism when we were small and more tightly knit. But bronies have always been inclusive, not exclusive. We are a welcoming fandom, and an energetic one. As we spread word of how wonderful this show is to the far reaches of the internet, people took notice. And while many reacted to what was new and different with hatred or fear, people joined the herd in droves. Now we are huge, large enough and diverse enough to put lie to the stereotypes, including the good ones that we had created for ourselves.
We don't have to look any further than how the fandom made the landscape unwelcoming to Digibro, something Seth and the majority of EQD is downright proud of. Because they straight up don't want the show questioned, till they hired some imbecile who waves around a sock puppet. Like, look, even I can't be reasonable. How many people have I just insulted so far? I'm so knee-deep in this bullshit I can't go 5 minutes without kicking someone and going, "No, you."
There's a lot of talk, but little action. A lot of declaring how welcoming and tolerant the community is, but not a lot of actually doing anything that would make the community welcoming and tolerant. So when the realities of social interaction, like people fighting, rears its head, a lot of bronies get blindsided by it and start openly lamenting how we've supposedly let the community get to this state. Of course, those arguments and fights eventually pass and things are alright for a while before another fight rears its head and the cycle begins anew. So the real problem isn't the supposed drama, the real problem is the same problem we've always had. A lot of bronies have their heads lodged so far up their own ass that they have an inflated view of their own fandom, and seem to retain that view despite being proven wrong again and again and again. That's all.
You in the audience, who would I need to cite to convince you this is true? I know a who's who of people who pull this boner. I don't just know this, I'm the guy to know this. If you're already typing in the comments whatever happened to Love and Tolerate, when was the last time that you did? Yes, you, typing that. I mean, forget the fact that it's a stupid 4chan meme, but I want you to think back. Did you simply surround yourself with content creators that told you nice, sugary things you wanted to hear? But what did you do to get all uppity and self-important? Hit a subscribe button? Maybe a like button? What are you, pass analysis? See, I did it again. I couldn't turn it off if I wanted to.
Again. That's not to say that the brony community is especially bad. I honestly don't believe it is. It's about the same as most other fandoms of middle-of-the-road TV shows. It has its good aspects, it has its bad aspects, and even the majority of the things I complain about centers around people not being particularly observant as viewers, which is pretty damn low on the scale of doing stupid shit. However, it does seem like a lot of bronies, how do I say this without sounding ableist, aren't particularly
And not to wail on just the people on the comments, I have close friends who flub on social faux pas all the time. I had 2 co-hosts laughed about a guest's schizophrenic wife. Yes, you're gonna have to go watch the whole podcast to go find out who. It's easier to be blissfully ignorant and obtuse than it is to try. If your response back to me is, I or Lily Peet are terrible people, that would fail to invalidate the point. Yes, in an ideal world, having, say, a Persian poetess politely telling you your faults quietly over tea in a caring, nurturing manner would be ideal. I don't do tea, I'm not quiet, and my idea of nurturing is sink or swim. In the past, I've commented on Sheldon or Shellyd for some of his work. It's not because Sheldon is a complete, irredeemable, dumb shit. Hell, I voted for him on Analysis Daily for his analysis. And here's the kicker. So did A and Y. Knowledge and wisdom comes in all shapes and sizes. Why is this relevant to know? If you're digging far enough, you'll find a gem, and you'll find something truly noteworthy. I'm not an Arrnored skeptic fan, for example, but in this video he explains camera perspective and why some people come to the conclusion that Hillary Clinton was a hologram. Now, that's obviously not true, but if you went for the main topic, and just that, you would have missed this.
The arc of an intelligent mind is one that can entertain a new idea without necessarily accepting it as true. That's what we skeptics do. We do the simple explanation. This is the big difference between a conspiracy theorist and a skeptic. If a conspiracy theorist calls himself a skeptic, they're fucking lying. They don't know what a skeptic is. A skeptic is somebody who goes for the most likely explanation, the simplest explanation, Occam's razor. A conspiracy theorist goes for, I guess, what's the most amazing and fun thing to believe.
Sometimes the best lessons are buried, not necessarily at the forefront. Sometimes these lessons are from people you might not like. And it's why till this day most people, on King of Limbo, still struggle with this simple question. What's something that you've learned from someone you don't particularly like? The more answers that you have for that, the more open you are to real discussion. Thank you. P.S. There were some things that you'll find questionable in this ramble video. It's why I said you'll have to dig. If you think I cherry-picked just the good stuff, well, yeah. Number 1, fair use. Number 2, quality control. What does this look like, Shellyd's channel, where he lazily puts up the whole video and pauses every 30 seconds to scratch his ass with his keys, or have Corpulent Brony blow him every 5 minutes? This is a prime-time ribeye steak. You want the leftovers that go into the hot dogs? Once again, Shellyd's channel. Pig lips and assholes. I wanted to comment on one more thought that Peet presents. We need to move beyond just my opinion, but also makes the call not to just have the philosophy of sucking it up and expressing when you're uncomfortable. I will concede that I'm too stupid to achieve both of these philosophies at a consistent level without sacrificing one or the other. There is an ongoing tact in life in expressing one's ideas clearly without being a massive penis, and in my 37 years of life, to find a narrow group that will accommodate the ability of expression and allowing you to be comfortable simply doesn't seem appealing. Despite whatever after-school special you're watching. Yes, Lily is right that you cannot, in fact, get along with everyone, at least for prolonged bouts. I got along with Bag of Vicodin for 1 week, long enough to get him on King Limbo, and then I hurled his ass out of the room. I had the ability, if I bent over backwards and didn't argue with the motherfucker, and cheapened myself on a level I've yet to mirror anywhere else in the fandom. If you're going to hang out with someone whose viewpoints are so adverse to your own, one of you is going to have to learn to shut up. One side has to get the short end of the stick, and in all likelihood, it's not something you should try and sustain for long. There's a serious, strong perspective here, regretfully attached to someone who's made some unfortunate decisions. And some of you wonder why I like Lily Peet. Great ideas followed by bad decisions. What could be more Brony?